Most interior designers are still working much slower than they need to, and they don't even realize it. During 2025, interior design workflow has changed dramatically. Tasks that once took hours, like organizing briefs, concept exploration, testing materials, those things can all be done much faster and more efficiently now. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how AI can dramatically improve your workflow, and more specifically, how it can help you move faster and make better decisions during the design phase in 2026. Now, let's be clear, this is not about AI replacing designers. It's about removing the friction, so designers can spend less time setting things up and more time actually designing. If you want to follow along with these workflows yourself, you can create a free Rayon account using the link below, or open the free template, also linked below, and use it as we go. Now, before we actually go ahead and jump into the workflow, it's important to understand how AI fits into a typical project workflow. There are three main workflows where we've seen that AI is making a really big difference. The first being project management and tracking. Tools like Notion AI help keep projects organized, decisions documented, and everything in one place. The second is communication with clients and stakeholders. Things like emails, proposals, summaries. Tools like ChatGPT can help speed up writing and reduce back and forth by generating comprehensive proposals. And the third, which we're going to focus on in this tutorial, is design workflows. Now, this includes design concepts, material studies, and visual exploration. I personally recommend using Rayon Design for tasks like these, which lets you go from that initial DWG or PDF to client presentations and construction documentation. With a new AI built-in panel, Rayon helps create faster design iterations using materials, styles, and even AI-generated 3D axonometrics. So let's go ahead and dive in and see all of these in action. So in the early design phase, the goal is not perfection, it's just exploration. So we're gonna dive into three different areas of the design process where you can use this AI-powered design tool I've been talking about to explore your ideas quickly without committing too early. And those are gonna be the style exploration, material study, and quick 3D visualizations that we can create with just a few clicks. So here I am in our template, which again, you can download for free at the link below. And I want to just go ahead and start by showing you this little AI panel. When we are starting a project, it's all about getting our clients oriented with our style and vision. And usually that's when we're using our reference and inspirational images in things like mood boards. So we're going to go ahead and see how we can test some different design directions using the AI generated mood boards, and then even how to edit some photos of our project or any like reference images to reflect those different styles using AI. So over here in your little panel right here, you'll see these little stars, and that's going to be your AI chat. Now, it's important to note that this AI panel can do a lot more than what we're going to talk about in this tutorial. You can see that there are a couple of prompts for you to start, but basically right here is where you're going to ask Rayon to create whatever you need to create. This is where you're going to add in your prompt. You can also attach images, so you can add files or screenshots. Additionally, if you actually select an image in your canvas, it will notice that, and it will say, you can use selected image, and then you can write your prompt and say like, add XYZ to this image, and then it will recognize that that is the image that you want to adjust. You can also generate CAD blocks in here, and we're going to explore a couple different ways to use it in today's tutorial. So let's start with creating a mood board. So we've got one that's already kind of started down here. I'll just show you how to add an image to the mood board, how to remove the background, and then we're going to basically ask the AI to create some other mood boards based on this mood board in different styles. So I'm going to first start by grabbing just an image of a chair. So I'm going to just copy this image in another web browser, and then come back here and just go ahead and paste it, and it's going to paste the image of that chair with the background and everything. So we will just use AI to remove the background by going down here to where it says edit with AI. Make sure that your image is selected, click that little arrow, and then we'll just say remove background, and it's going to kind of work its magic. And then if that looks good to you, you can say done, or you can adjust some things like the exposure, contrast, and saturation as well. I'm just going to hit done, and now it's basically kind of like a PNG that you can just lay over anything or lay anything over it. I'm just going to set it kind of to the side here, and we'll just use that for our mood board as well. Now here you can see that we have full control over everything. So I can select all of these images, I can select all of these materials. It's not just like some random mess. But what we're gonna do is we're going to actually take a screenshot of this mood board, and we're going to ask Rayon's AI to create 2 other styles of mood boards based on our prompt. So let's start by taking the screenshot, and once we do that, we'll just capture it, and I'm gonna just kind of put it over here up in space so we have that for reference. And now what we can do is we can actually select that mood board screenshot, tell the AI over here to use the selected image, and then just tell it what style to recreate the mood board in. So we can say recreate mood board in a rustic style and let it generate that. And then I will also prompt it to recreate the mood board in like a high gloss eclectic style. And then what we'll do is we'll just hit send. And then I'm gonna actually copy and paste this title block here so we can create 3 different side-by-side options. And then once those mood boards are generated, we can basically just drop those mood boards into our title blocks. So you can see over here, it's generated sort of like a rustic, we can say preview here, sort of a rustic mood board for us. So if you don't like that, you can just continue prompting. I have one that it generated that I do like that I'll drop in here. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this rustic mood board that it generated for me already. And then I also have an eclectic one that it generated that I like as well that I will drop in here. So we'll just paste that here. And you can see that it basically took the exact same mood board that I had. It just kind of replaced some of the objects. So, it kept the fact that I had a chair, it just replaced it with a more rustic chair. And then same with the materials. So now what we can do is tell our AI to apply this mood board to an image. So for instance, let's say we have this image of a cafe up here, which is like pretty bland. We can select the image of the cafe as well as our mood board. So I'm gonna just hold down my shift key and select both of those and then say use selected image and prompt it to apply materials from the mood board to the image of the cafe. And what it's gonna do is it's going to analyze what's on the mood board and it will apply it to the cafe image, and we'll do that exact same prompt for all 3 of these. And then once we get an image, we can just kind of plop it on the page. Okay, so after a couple of different prompts and attempts, I got a couple of good images here. So this one, it clearly applied some of this pink tile here, got my chairs in there. Over here, we've got more of a rustic looking cafe where we've got more wood and stone. And then here we've got our high gloss, eclectic, fun terrazzo wallpaper looking cafe. So you can see how easy that was to just basically apply a mood board to an existing image and just start getting a view of what this space could really look like. Now, again, it is AI, right? So it's not gonna get it every single time. Like there were other prompts and other times that I asked the AI to generate something that it didn't really get something that I liked. But you have to remember that this is basically made for early concept development and also just like communication with the client, which is really, really important at this stage. So now we have these 3 different concepts, and this is extremely easy for our client to contrast and compare. And obviously, as you can see, these 3 styles look very different. So this is just an easy way to just start narrowing in on a design concept. Now let's test another AI workflow. So we're going to quickly swap some materials and finishes, furniture, fixtures in a section cut to better understand how this choice affects the actual space. So if we pop into our section cut over here, you can see that we've got different rectangles laid out here for different materials. With our typical workflow, you can usually just select the rectangle and then reapply a different style. So if there is a different style in here that you want to see, you can do that here. Now you can also add in a different type of image if you already have an image, or what I like to do is kind of reference back to my mood board over here and take a little screenshot of any type of material that I'm liking. So maybe I will take a screenshot of this terrazzo here, and then I will ask the AI to actually generate, just copy and paste that in here. I will ask it to use the selected image and I'll say generate a repeatable texture, from this image. So what it's going to do is it's going to create a texture that I can then use to apply to our section here. And then once it does, we can just either eyedrop it or just use the image that it drops in here, and we'll have an entirely new material. Okay, so here it has created this image for us. So I'm going to say insert image, and we can either just select here and do like a little eyedropper, maybe rescale it if you need to. But this is a really easy way to get a new material without actually having to go source that material. So I'm a huge fan of this workflow, and it just kind of helps speed that thing up. So once we have that, then let's use our AI panel as well to recreate a CAD block for these chairs. So let's say we want something a little bit comfier here, like the chair that we sourced earlier. So I'm going to basically select this chair, and I'll say use selected chair, and then I will prompt the AI to generate a CAD block of the chair. And so what it's going to do is it's going to create a top, a front, and a side view of the chair, and then we can easily just drop that into our section, and we'll come back when it does that. Okay, so now we can see here that it has generated a top view, a side view, and a front view. So we will just go ahead and insert that little side view right here. So I'll say insert, and oops, got duplicate, and just plop it right there. And you can see that it did actually a really nice job. So if you want to, you can go in there and add in some fills as well. You might have to actually edit a few vertices because usually it's not filled all the way, but this one's actually not too bad. So you might have to do a little bit of editing, but once you get that looking good, then you'll just copy and paste and do a mirror, set it, over here. And there we go. Now we have our chairs based on the chair that we just had, and we didn't have to go source that or anything. We just have it here. So I also want to show you how you can add or change items in a photo. So if we, just select this photo that we have here, I can actually also select a chair or something else, like a light fixture or something, and tell it that I want it to add it to the view. So if I wanted to, you can see here that I actually already did it. So what I did was I selected this image, and then I selected also this chair, and I said replace the stools with the chair. And what it gave me back was this very nice interpretation of that. So all you do is just select your image and then select the thing that you want to add to the view or change about the view. So let's do something different. So I'll select this, and I will also select the tree, and I'll just say use selected images, and I'll say add plant to image. Now you can be more specific about where you want the plant to be added, because it might add it like on the countertop or something, but that is how you can easily manipulate an image that you already have. You can also tell it to, add tile to the backsplash or add wood to the island. You can just kind of do like whatever you can imagine. You can try to prompt this AI with. Again, it is AI, so its interpretation might be, a little flip-floppy, but you'll get most of the way there, which is really, really cool without having to even leave the app. Okay, so if we go down here, you can see I can insert the image, and it added it to the image. It doesn't look super realistic, but it probably is because I wasn't super specific on my prompt, but you can just kind of continue to play with it and just have fun with it. And I always like to just kind of add the images into my white space over here, just so I have them. And then if you do like something, just add it to your actual presentation board. So let's move on to our last item here, which is quick 3D visualization. And this is one of my favorite tools because it eliminates the need to have to go into 3D at such an early part of the project. So what you can do is you can turn your spatial layouts into a 3D axonometric view with literally just a prompt. So this is going to be amazing for client visualization, and it will save you so much time explaining your vision, avoiding any misunderstandings down the road, because sections and floor plans are not super easily understood by a lot of clients. So let me show you how to do that. What we're going to do is we're just going to first take a screenshot of our section here. So we'll take a screenshot and then just copy and paste that into our project here. So I'm going to paste it down here. And then what we'll do is prompt it over here with use selected image and say, create a 3D axonometric section from the, okay, we'll just say, yeah, that. Don't want to give it too much information because then it's going to start misinterpreting. So what's cool about this is it's going to essentially create something similar to this section that we already have in here. So this is all just AI generated. This is not an actual 3D model. And all it did was just interpret this based on the section. So if we go down here, we can see that we've got our new little section. So I'll say insert image, and we can just plop that right next to it. And you can see that it actually did a really good job interpreting this, especially with the new chairs that we have over here. And you can see it's got our terrazzo on there. So it did take into consideration some of the materials that we used. So now just to kind of restyle this a few different ways, we can actually select that new view that it created. And let's say style this axon in a gray scale clay model. Okay, and then we'll just see what it does with that. And then lastly, we will apply one of our mood boards to the axon, and then it will take some materials from our mood board, maybe some of the furniture, and apply it to the actual axon section. Okay, so you can see here that it did a pretty great job of sticking to our prompt. So if I just enlarge this a little bit, now we've got basically a full gray clay model. And now, lastly, what I want to do is select that new gray model and then also hold down my shift key and select one of our mood boards. So I'm going to choose our eclectic mood board. I'm going to say apply materials and style from mood board to 3D axon. And we'll just see what it does there. And hopefully it makes it nice and stylized, and that'll wrap up our session together. Okay, so let's see how we did here. If we insert the image, you can see that it applied a lot of our materials. It didn't quite get the outdoor area together, but you can see that it started to listen. You could also try to select your section in your mood board and prompt it to create a 3D axon that way with the mood board. I've found that the further down the line you get with these AI creations, the harder it is for the AI to interpret what you're trying to do. So sometimes if you just kind of go back to scratch and maybe select your section and select your mood board and say, generate a 3D axon from a 3D axon section using the materials and style from the mood board, and see what happens there. It might be able to interpret it a little bit better, whereas here, or we've already gone through, the axon and then the clay, and then now it's got multiple different things that it's trying to read. So sometimes, it gets a little bit more jumbled. So sometimes just going back to the beginning makes all the difference. Okay, so this is what it came up with. So if I insert this, it looks like it applied the materials a little bit better, but the axon is not as crisp as the other one. So again, sometimes it just takes some playing around, but it really does make this whole part of the process so much easier. When you can test ideas quickly, you make better decisions. Instead of fully locking into one direction and hoping that it sticks, you can easily compare options, adjust details, and refine those concepts before moving forward. This leads to clearer conversations with clients and fewer changes later on in the project. If you want to go ahead and try the workflows that we just covered, you can create a free Rayon account to test these AI-powered tools yourself, or just open up the free template linked below and start experimenting yourself. If this tutorial was helpful for you, please be sure to like the video and subscribe for more design workflow content. And let me know in the comments how you're currently handling concept and material studies. See you next time.